Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? Today we're going to be talking all about stone fruit trees. You can see one behind me. The stone fruits are in season. They're starting to bloom. Actually, the fruits aren't in season, but they are starting to bloom like crazy. It's just about spring here. We're in late winter. It's early March 3rd now. And so this is an Apium tree right here. Nice little apricot plum hybrid called Cotton Candy. It's delicious. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about what I've been doing right now in the orchard to kind of prepare for the spring bloom and how and why the trees are starting to look really good right now. It all comes down to a winter pruning and it's going to come down to your winter spraying. So a lot of our trees now are pushing out fresh leaves. There's a lot of peach trees in today's video I'm going to show you. A couple years ago, out here in the garden, a couple trees didn't get sprayed, covered in peach leaf curl. If you're not sure what that is, it's when your peach leaves get exposed to those fungal spores of a certain fungus, and it basically distorts and just totally changes the growth of the leaf. It gets all distorted, kind of bubbly and blistery and red and discolored and disfigured, and then enough of it really can do some damage to your tree, and then it invites more problems. Like aphid and other pests. When those leaves get all curled up, it's perfect little homes for them. So we don't like peach leaf curl. So we sprayed this winter. If you're not sure what that looks like, I have a video that I'll link here as well. Also, some other videos you might want to look at if you're into stone fruit trees. Pruning videos, I'm sure, in the catalog. Look them up, because a lot of the health of the trees right now comes down to, and how the health is going to be when they start to fruit, is really going to come down to the structure of the tree, the limbs that we've removed, and how the trees are looking now with healthy structure, nice open centers. All the dead, diseased, and dying branches are gone. All the branches that are crisscrossing are gone. So we're trying to work on creating a good, healthy structure that's going to provide for healthy limbs with lots of fruit, but also have a nice open center where light and air can pass through, because we want to reduce the amount of bugs and pests that we have. But you know what? I could talk all about that. Let's actually get a closer look at how some of these trees look, so you can see what an orchard looks like right now of stone fruit. Let's take a look. So I absolutely love growing fruit trees. So like I said, this is the Apium Cotton Candy, but you can see the blossoms on there. And so hopefully, if everything goes to plan, each of these blossoms will be a delicious fruit. But you can see now the tree's pushing out a lot of leaves. So right now for us out here in the orchard, what we're gonna be doing, because like I said, we already did our winter pruning, we did our winter spraying. I sprayed it with a liquid cop, like a liquid copper spray. You can see right here, so not all of our stone fruit trees are blooming at the same time. So the Apium tree is in full bloom. This is actually, can anyone guess it? Anyone guess it? This is actually a cherry tree. There's 3 different varieties on this cherry tree. And so this one is hopefully going to produce for us pretty good this year. That's just now starting to bloom. You can see some lower blossoms, but really the buds are just now kind of swelling up. So this tree is actually taking a little longer. One of our first trees, and I'll show you right here, to bloom. And actually look at this. Look how far along this peach tree is. So this is a delicious peach. I can't remember the variety, but man, it is just covered in beautiful blossoms these last few weeks. And with this warm weather, it is just flushing out with tons of fresh growth. And this is why I wanted to show you. Look at how healthy all of those leaves look. And that's really going to come down to the pruning that we did, but mainly the spraying. I think we did 3 sprayings. We did one around late November, late December, and then one in late January. And so sprayings of that liquid copper, it basically kills and smothers out those fungal spores. And so what's great about that is now when all this new growth emerges and flushes out, it doesn't really have, I'm seeing 0 signs of peach leaf curl, and I hope that continues. But usually for me, if I didn't spray or didn't spray enough, or if I missed some areas, I'll notice it on the first growth that emerges off the fruit trees right here. Like I said, it's, as far as the tree's considered, it's spring, but technically we're still in winter. Like I said, it's early March, but as far as some of these plants are concerned, it's spring is on the way. So you can see right here another peach tree, but look this one. Probably needs a little bit more pruning. There's a couple limbs there that didn't make it from some stress last summer, but this is actually an October peach. So you can see it's a little bit behind. It's just now flushing out. This one will probably get no fruit off of this year. We'll probably pull all any blossoms that do emerge off, and then we'll basically fertilize it and try to get as much growth out of this one as we can, so that way hopefully in the near future we can get some fruit. But this is another stone fruit, one of my favorites. This is a Plua Tree, and this is one we pruned back. I think I had a video in the catalog on this one. So really you'll notice that we kind of topped the height of this one, and I probably could even brought some limbs back a little bit shorter, like this limb right here. See how it just kind of keeps going and going and going and going. I didn't have the heart to cut it back any harder, but I probably could have just a little bit. But what you can really notice is that the center of the tree doesn't really have any big limbs clogging it up. There's no limbs crisscrossing from one side back to the other. We try to have it the structure kind of upwards and outwards, to give the limbs each some space, to allow, like I said, air and light to pass through. You also don't want a limb that's just going horizontal forever and ever and ever, because then it gets, you know, fully weighted up and it can break off and, you know, damage the tree as it slumps to the ground or even snaps off and self-thins. But this Plua tree is looking good. Like I said, I probably should have filmed it a week or two ago, because you can see the flowers are already spent. Hopefully they're pollinated, but actually here, take a look, take a look. You see right there, you see that little green spot right there? That's the ovary of that flower, and you can see a few of them on there. So that's actually the fruit. It's March 3rd. That's actually the fruit already forming in there, hopefully at least. If these got correctly pollinated, I'm sure some of them might get stressed out from weather, or maybe didn't get pollinated perfectly, but so hopefully we'll get plenty. This tree in the past has been pretty prolific, so I'm really excited to see all this new growth. So some of the things that we, like I said, not in that garden now, that we're going to consider doing, basically checking up on our irrigation. For instance, this area I'm going to have to come play with today, because I've noticed that this area tends to get a bit wetter than the rest. This tree's probably getting a little bit too much, so I'm going to kind of I'm going to tone it back a little bit and take one of its irrigation lines off, or slow it down a bit with a little micro valve. But really, right now is a great time to get in there, check any irrigation that you have going to your trees. We use drip in our orchard out here, because we had some pretty small orchard. We only have, you know, 20 plus something fruit trees, a little under 30 fruit trees. But for us, the drip system works great. You can look at the blossoms on there. Isn't that gorgeous? So hopefully we'll have plenty of peaches. This tree's actually been kind of hurt. You can see it's got some really wicked limbs. I had to pull a lot off of it. So this might be its last season, and I might replace it after this, because it's a pretty, we got this one donated a while back, and it's done fine, but just these last few years, it's just had a lot of limbs that we've had to remove, that have just died off. So this might be its last summer. We'll see how I feel about it, but it's still covered in a lot of flowers. You contrast that with this tree, his friend, same exact tree, just has a different structure, and you can see that it's blooming as well, but it has a lot healthier look to it. You know, it's going to be a little bit more easy to manage to harvest, and probably get some more predictable harvest out of that, some good fruit. So I'm really looking forward to this one. But like I said, we pruned it, we sprayed it, and now we're just checking on irrigation. But actually, the one last thing I really want to, you know, impart to you is, now that they're pushing out some fresh growth, we've checked the irrigation, we checked the timing, we make sure that they're getting, you know, good, deep, and frequent waterings, just like we want. But what we really want to do is also make sure that we're going to feed these trees. You know, these plants, these trees especially, they're going to they're growers, and they produce a lot of fresh growth. They're going to hopefully try to produce a lot of flowers. Look at this tree right here, is a 4-in-1. So you can see it's got some peach blossoms, it's got plum blossoms, it's got a limb that's not even blooming just quite yet, I think a nectarine, and then there's apricots on the backside. So here's all the apricot flowers. So this tree's like 4 different varieties in one. This is a cool looking tree right here. Look at the blossoms on this one. They're just kind of more pale, they're kind of small and have a little tinge to them. Pretty cool little peach tree. We have a lot of cool different peaches and nectarines out here. So hopefully we'll follow this up with me getting to eat all this wonderful stuff. And of course we have actually not a stone fruit, but actually this is a pear tree. This is a 20th century pear. We actually did graft a couple different types of pears onto it. You can see right there, there's one. Here's another one that I grafted onto just for fun a year or two ago. You can see right there. And then even this little weird limb right here is a different, like maybe like a Bartlett pear or something. So 3 or 4 types of pears on this tree, and it's just now starting to push out. You can see all the blossoms starting to come. Actually, there's a few in there. And the fruit on this tree is just divine. It's very sweet, almost like a juicy apple. Like apple and a pear had a baby with all the best qualities of each, kind of how it feels. But what's great is you can see this one's already bloomed out, and now it's flushing out with fresh growth, like I said. So now if our irrigation's figured out, it's a really good time to feed them. They want to eat just like we do, and so we can feed them with some healthy nutrition. We go all organic out here, so we're probably going to use a nice organic, you know, granulated little formula, fruit tree food. for them, and we're gonna give them plenty. Actually, oh, here, so we have sprayed these trees. Here's an example of peach leaf curl. So these ones did get sprayed pretty good, but you know what? Sometimes you miss a little bit. And so that's what peach leaf curl looks like. Now imagine having a tree where that's every leaf looks like that, where there's just a little bit of healthy tissue, and then the rest is all bubbly. Looks like it got burnt up, right? So that's not good. And so there's just a few. I think this whole tree has thousands of leaves. There's like 3 leaves on here that are exhibiting the peach leaf curl. So that's not the worst. But like I said, so if I didn't spray, it would not be great. This is actually, okay, my last trees I'm gonna show you. This is one we just planted, and this is actually a 5-in-1 plum variety. So we have a Shiro plum on there, there's a Burbank plum, there's a Satsuma plum, there's an Italian prune, and a Santa Rosa plum all on one tree. And so I'm really excited. That one's already bloomed up and is flushing out with fresh growth. One more Plua tree. Look how healthy this tree is. And I pruned it up a bit, but I probably could have pruned it even harder because it's such a robust tree with so many massive limbs on it for such a small tree. It's really only about 10 feet tall, maybe 10 feet wide, and that's about where we want to keep it. I'm not going to let it really get much taller than that. But for us, it's time to fertilize these trees. I'm gonna go through and check all the irrigation. We're gonna keep the weeds off them a little bit so that way they don't have to compete too much. But really, other than that, it's gonna be all about enjoyment from here on out. We're gonna do a little bit of work up front so we can enjoy some of that fruit later on. And what's great about having different types of fruit trees, even when it's stone fruits or let it be apples or pears, with fruit trees, what's great, just like the citrus to my left, is that they produce at different times of the season. So hopefully we'll get a great harvest that'll be kind of continual throughout the warm season months of the late spring, summer. Actually, these ones will all be ready in mainly in summer. The first one out here to actually provide fruit as far as the stone fruits goes is actually going to be that first tree that we started with, the Aprium. It always goes about late May, early June for us, so it's the first one to enjoy. And then from there on out, it's just a cascade of just treats and fruit and delight. Look how many blossoms are on there that are blooming. Come on, we got to get some more bees out here. Woo, come on, bees. Where are you? We need you. And so you can see there's just tons, hopefully tons of fruit that we'll get to enjoy. Cannot wait to share it with my students. If you enjoyed this video, which I certainly hope you did, thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to come back for more. Until then, garden friends, happy gardening to you. Take care. Bye-bye.